welcome back to my channel, Grace and Ashes. Today I'm going to be doing a full first impressions for you using items that I've picked up from Ulta recently. All of these are drugstore items, so you can pick them up at your local Walmart, Walgreens, any drugstore that is near you that sells makeup. So I am just going to stick to my face today. So if you're interested in seeing the makeup look that I come up with today, just keep watching. So these are the two primers that I picked up. This one is the L'Oreal True Match Lumi Glotion in 901 Fair Glow. So this one, it just comes out like a lotion, so you can squeeze this on the back of your hand. I will say this one is thicker in consistency than this one. So this one does have a pump to it, which I like better. And this is the Magic Lumi Light Infusing Primer. So you just can pump this on the back of your hand. This one comes off white and the other one comes off more like a skin tone pigment. So it just depends on what you're using it for. This particular one, the Glotion, I think I would rub this all over my face as a primer, and then this one, the white one, I would mix it in with my actual foundation and just put it on with the brush or with the sponge, whichever. So I think what I'm gonna do is just split my face in half and do half with the Glotion and do half with the light infusing primer, just to see which one I like better. I picked up this foundation because it was going to add in the luminosity that I was looking for, and this is the L'Oreal True Match Lumi. This is warm, and on the top it says Porcelain Light Ivory W12. I'm not sure if you're gonna be able to see that, but I think this was the lightest shade that they had. I'm going to start off using a sponge. This particular sponge is by Real Techniques, and this is the Face and Body Sponge. This is the normal sponge that you can get. This one, you can see compared in size, this one is massive. I'm going to put foundation on this side with the sponge, and then I will put foundation on this side using a brush just to see which one we like better. I'm actually going to take this. I didn't like the way that that looked. And I did not wet my sponge today because I have been wetting it in the past. And like I said, I have dry skin, and I just felt like my makeup just didn't sit right. And I recently heard another makeup girl say that she has really dry skin as well, and she does not wet her brush for that reason, because her skin is so dry. She said that the sponge just made it look even worse when she was putting on foundation. So I'm going to try this without wetting it today to see if I like it. So we're just going to press this in all over the face. And keep in mind, this is the side that does have the Glotion on it. This is lightweight. I definitely can't even feel that I have anything on, honestly. If I wasn't looking in the mirror, I wouldn't even know that I had foundation on my face right now, and I absolutely love that. Especially with living in the South, when we are about to hit our months where it's going to be the hottest and humidity starts to come back. I definitely don't want to feel like I have something caked on my skin. So this so far is winning for me, and I really like the coverage of it. I wouldn't say that this is full coverage because I can see my freckles and things coming through. Okay, so that is that side complete, and I'm really happy with the way that that applied with a sponge. So we'll see how this looks with a brush. And actually, I've changed my mind with what I'm going to do. To give this makeup a fair shot with the sponge and the brush, I'm going to put that Glotion on the other side as well. I should have thought about this beforehand, but I want to give it a fair shot and really accurately tell you what my first impression is, and I feel like using the same primer is going to help with that. So I'm just going to put that Glotion on this side as well, in all the same areas where I put the other, and I'm putting on the exact same amount as well. Okay, so now that I have the primer on, it has already set down into my skin. I'm not sure if I mentioned that beforehand, but I felt like it really, like, almost like it sunk down into my skin. I can't even feel that I have it on. So if that's something that you don't like in a primer, you might not like that. But I am going to use the Expert Face Brush. This is by Real Techniques, and I purchased this at Ulta. I think it was like $10 or something like that. So I am going to pump the foundation directly onto the brush. Some people probably would tell you not to do that, but I put 3 pumps of foundation on this, which is the same amount that I put on the other side as well. So we will see how this applies using a brush. So applying this with the brush, I think, I don't know which side I like better. I don't know if you can see this in the camera, but this is the side that I put the makeup on with the Real Techniques sponge. And I feel like this side comes across a little bit more matte. And I feel like this side has a little bit more of that luminosity and dewiness that I was looking for. So I'm actually shocked. I think I like the side with the brush a little bit better, and I'm honestly really surprised by that because I did not think that I was going to. But I like that the brush let me keep the luminosity that I was going for. And in the camera, it looks like the foundation does not match my neck, but in person, it doesn't look as off as it does in the camera. But yeah, I'm really liking the side with the brush better. I wouldn't say that one side is more full coverage than the other. I just think that this side just has a little bit more of that dewiness and a luminosity to it. Okay, so I also picked up a new concealer whenever I was in Ulta, and this is the ColourPop No Filter Concealer. This is in the shade Fair 06. Looks like this, and we'll see what this does. It might brighten, it might not, but either way, it's a concealer, so it's definitely going to conceal. So I'm going to put this on with the smaller Beauty Blender first. And again, this is not wet. And when we're done with this, to get in the inner corner, I'm going to go in with a Real Techniques sponge. So I'm going to put this on just like any other concealer that I would wear. And I'm going to draw that V underneath my eye. And I definitely think that this is going to brighten, which is what I'm looking for. I really like the way that the concealer looks, and I like the way that it is wearing. I definitely think that it helped to brighten up my under eye area, but I will say that it does dry down very quickly. So I have this part right here on my head that does not want to blend out. I am using the Maybelline Fit Me finishing powder today. This is the loose finishing powder, and this is in the shade Fair 05. I like that it is fair in color, so it's not gonna wash me out because it's more of a translucent, but it's also not gonna add pigment to the foundation. I'm going to use the bigger sponge and just put powder all over my face. I always put the majority of it around my eye area because that is where I put the concealer, and that is where I don't want the foundation and the concealer to move the most. It also has a very cooling sensation on the skin, which I really like as well. I feel like putting this on in the summertime, it's going to just feel so refreshing to put it onto your skin. So I really like the way that this looks so far. And we're just going to keep going, doing the same thing on the other side and the rest of my face. I purchased the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer when I was in Ulta last. This is in the shade 6675 Light Bronzer. So packaging looks like this. You open it up and it has 3 different parts to it, or 2 different parts. So you have the bronzer, you have the mirror, and then you also have a sponge in here. So if you are sensitive to smell, you might not like it, but it smells like coconut. To me, it almost smells a little suntan like. It's got that just strong coconut smell to it. I'm really not a huge fan of it. I think at first, when you first open it up, it's like, oh, it smells so good. And then after a minute of using it, you're like, okay, go away. You're a little too strong for me. But I will say that once you put it on your skin and it's been a little while, the smell kind of goes away. So you don't have to worry about it lingering all day long. It's just when you're first applying it to your face. So I'm just putting this and like a 3 on my face. So here, and then I will bring it down to my neck here in just a minute. And I like the way that this applies. I like that it doesn't have an orange undertone to it, and I just think that it applies so well for my fair skin. So I'm gonna move on with my blush, and I'm using the same blush that I always do. This is the Morphe blush in the shade Spirit, but I am using a new brush, so that's why I wanted to show this to you. I am using the blush brush by Real Techniques. This is the RT400. Again, I got mine at Ulta, so I'm just going to dab this in to the Morphe blush. The Morphe blushes are insanely pigmented, so just keep that in mind when you are putting your brush into them, that they're insanely pigmented. And since this brush, or these brushes by Real Techniques, are picking up a lot of pigment anyway, I definitely want to go in with a light hand. So just be mindful of that if you are using a Real Techniques brush for the first time, or if you are using a Morphe blush for the first time as well. Now I'm going to go in and do my eyebrows. I am using a new eyebrow pencil today. This is the L'Oreal Brow Stylish Shape and Feel. This is in the shade light brown, I think. Light brunette is what this is in. So I'm going to do my eyebrows off camera. I'm also going to go ahead and do my eyeshadow and that kind of stuff off camera, and then I will come back at the end and let you know my final thoughts. Okay, so this is the finished makeup look that I came up with. I also put on a lip. This is the Physicians Formula Butter lipstick. This is in the shade Mauve to Brazil. It's just a really pretty mauve color. I will say that it is incredibly hard to twist up this lipstick, and it's also even more difficult to get it to twist down back into the tube. So I have to take my finger and smush it down so that way it doesn't get stuck in the cap, and I don't like that. Also, the formula of this is great. I think it's probably going to be one of my favorite formulas for springtime and summertime, because it's very hydrating on the lips, and it does have SPF in it. It has SPF 15, which I absolutely love. So I really like the formula. I like the way that it applies. I don't like the fact that it's so hard to twist it up and twist it down. This might just be a bad one. They might all not be like that. And I will say that this does have a scent to it, and it does have a taste. So if you're sensitive to that stuff, you might not like this, but I think it has a really good color payoff, and again, it's really hydrating on my lips, which is what I'm looking for in the summertime. I still feel like my skin does look more glowy. It does look more illuminated than it did using the Makeup Revolution foundation. So as far as that goes, I'm very happy with the way that my skin looks. Again, like I said earlier, when I put on the foundation, I don't feel like I'm wearing anything, and I really like that. I like the fact that I could wear this all day and not even know that I have like foundation on my face. I love that. So that gets a big thumbs up for me, because the other one, it was just too heavy on my skin. I'm not a fan of the concealer. I don't know if I will wear the concealer again. That's really the only thing that I've tried today that I'm not a fan of. I love the brushes. I am obsessed with this. I'm so glad that I purchased this, because that went so much faster putting the makeup on my face. And I really like the powder, and what else was there? Oh, the eyebrow pencil, don't really think I'm a fan of it. I don't like the color. I did add in the darker shade on top of it, so I think it looks a little bit better and a little bit more natural and not so red tone. To me, it almost looked orange, and I'm not about that life. So I am not a huge fan of that, but it's good to know that it can easily be fixed by just adding a darker pigment on top. So yeah, that's all that I have for you for this particular video. I hope that you enjoyed this first impressions. Definitely, I think, went better than the last first impressions that I had, and I think I'm going to like this makeup for a lot longer than I did the other makeup. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment down below with anything else that you would like to see. I am going to be doing a first impressions of IT Cosmetics, their foundation and their concealer. So if you are interested in seeing that, make sure you subscribe to this channel, and I will see you next time. Bye.